bored. Look me up, cause I'm such a junkie. Every day all I want is more. So entertain me right now. So entertain me right now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Pop Culture Junkie Podcast. I am Nicole, here with my fellow junkie,
Shauna.
And so we know that we usually go over and celebrate good movies, good things that we're watching and stuff, but today we're actually going to do a little 180 and talk about one of the worst movies that we have probably seen, that we actually just seen together. And it was my first time seeing this movie, so it was a great experience, which I'll get into. But Shauna and I recently seen The Room with Greg Sestero, and it was created and directed by Tommy Wiseau.
This was my third time seeing The Room. I don't know why. There's no reason to see this movie 3 times. The first time I watched it with my husband because it was known as the worst movie of all time. So obviously if something has that title, you have to watch it. Mm-hmm. And then the second time I saw it was at a showing with Greg Sestero there. He's one of the actors in the film. And it was for Pop Culture Junkie, and I got to interview Greg Sestero. So anybody listening, go back and listen to my interview with him. It was really good. So yeah, I was really excited that you got to go this time, Nicole, and experience The Room.
Yeah, it's very different from any other movie that you would go see in the theater, for sure.
Going into it, so I told you this movie's going to be terrible. And like, that's kind of the gist of it. You know, Greg Sestero kind of leans into knowing that it's a bad movie. And you leaned over and asked me, like, he knows this is going to be bad, right? It's like, yes. Yeah. Yes, he knows it's going to be bad. Like, he doesn't go into this thinking they're all going to love this.
Yeah.
But was it as bad as you thought it was going to be?
I don't think so. I think, again, the experience of being in the theater made it better than what I was expecting. I think if being in the movie theater with others, if I was alone watching it at home and didn't have that experience, it would have been definitely worse. But I think the experience just made it good for me. Honestly, like the people surrounding us, the whole environment, it was just so fun. And I was laughing the entire time. So I definitely think being in the theater with the others who actually knew what was going on made it a lot more better for me than I was expecting.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those movies where people know the lines. They have little chants that they go in with. And we all threw plastic spoons across the room and a couple hit Nicole in the heads. That was awesome.
That's true.
Yeah. Shout out to Majestic Theater in Arizona. This one was the Gilbert location. So the Junkies go there a lot and we love it there. But
yes.
Yeah, it was definitely cool to see everybody chanting and knowing everything. And what was your, gosh, I don't know if favorite is the right word here, but what was your favorite part of the movie?
Oh, I'm trying to think. I think it was when Mark and Johnny were playing football and all you heard, best friends, best friends. I love that part. And I also liked the ending. Well, I guess it wasn't in the movie, but it was someone saying it out loud, I think. The very end, spoiler alert for the movie.
Spoiler for The Room.
When Johnny dies and someone was like, oh, who's going to pay your college tuition now? I died. I thought that was
Denny.
Hilarious. Yeah.
Who's going to pay Denny's tuition? Oh my God. Denny is the funny. He's the most nonsensical character. He's this like, how old is he supposed to be? In some clips, he's a teenager and he's like, I just like to watch you. And he like follows them into their bedroom. And it's like, oh, Johnny's like a father to him. And I'm like, isn't this man like 25 years old?
I know. I'm like maybe 18 or 19. I don't know.
I guess. And he's going to college and then he's dealing drugs or bought drugs or something. What money, Denny? What money?
God.
Oh my God. And he gets held at gunpoint. And then it never impacts the movie for the rest of the movie. Yeah. There's so many parts like that. Like the mom has cancer. And then it's so unnecessary and it never comes up again. Just like, it's for sure. I definitely have cancer. And then just so the daughter's like, oh, you stupid bitch. You'll be all right. What?
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. What did you feel about the 4 very extended sex scenes?
Oh, wow. I felt bad for the actors. It was a lot to watch. Like, I'm not a prude or anything like that, but oh gosh, it was difficult. I felt really, really bad for the actors. But it was one part, I don't know if you mentioned it or someone else, they used the same scene twice.
Yeah. Like, so it's when Johnny and Lisa have sex 2 times.
Yes.
And she's definitely wearing the same eyeshadow and the same earrings. And they're using the roses again to like touch each other in foreplay. And I'm like, do they just do this every time they have sex? She puts on her sex eyeshadow and then they just rub the roses against each other. Oh my God. And then when her and Mark have sex for the first time, I guess they had sex, he doesn't even take his pants off and they're just on the staircase dry humping.
Oh man.
Greg told me in our interview together that they had to redub his like moans and stuff after the fact, after they filmed that scene. So that's why it's just so cringy. You can just hear him like, oh, Lisa, yeah. Because it's all just dubbed in.
Oh gosh.
Oh man.
So speaking of Greg, he was at the showing. It was the 20th anniversary of The Room, so that was why everything was happening. And Greg I believe he's going around the country from what his Instagram looks like and just going to different movie theaters and going to viewings of The Room and kind of doing meet and greets and stuff like that. So at the very beginning when I walked into the theater, he was there and you introduced us and he was talking about The Room. And obviously, I didn't know at the time that he knew it was a bad movie. So when he was talking to me about it, I was like, oh no, I'm so excited. Like, it's going to be so good, blah, blah, blah. Because I didn't want to insult him or his work, you know? And then that's when I realized, I was like, does he know it's a bad movie? And you were like, yeah. I'm like, okay, good.
Yeah, he knows.
But he was a really nice guy. I think it's really cool what he's doing, going around and kind of doing meet and greets and stuff like that. I think it's cool once you get to meet people, actors in the movies, and get their experience and what they did and how they went about everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, some of his stories about everything is just really funny from his point of view.
Yeah, he seems like a really cool guy from like the chances that I've gotten to talk to him. And he directs films now and he's an author. He wrote a book called The Disaster Artist based on his experiences filming The Room. And you definitely need to watch it, Nicole. It's so good. James Franco stars as Tommy, and then Dave Franco is Greg. And Seth Rogen's in it, and it's just this hilarious behind-the-scenes look of just the chaos and ridiculousness of that movie and how much money Tommy Wiseau just pumped into this production for really unnecessary things. Like he mentioned there was a rooftop that was available to film on, but Tommy demanded using like a green screen and a sound stage for the rooftop. But yeah, I definitely would suggest, checking out The Disaster Artist, whether you read it, the book, read the book, watch the movie. It's good stuff there. But yeah, I'm glad that you saw it with me, Nicole. I think it was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. Again, the experience of just the audience and the rest of the theater made it worthwhile for me, I think. So speaking of bad movies and movies that have a following like The Room, there's obviously a lot of other cult movies that have a cult following that has the same kind of scenario as The Room. Do any come to mind for you that they're just terrible, but you've seen them and you just continue to see them because of the following that it has?
Yeah, so I don't know if I would consider it terrible, but when I think of cult movies or movies with cult followings, it's going to be the Rocky Horror Picture Show. It's over the top and it has this huge passionate following behind it. Tim Curry plays a sweet transvestite from transsexual Transylvania. Not sure if you can say any of those words anymore, but that's a line from the movie. But I remember the first time I went was in college with my girlfriends, and we dressed up in like goth clothes and leather, which is just kind of how I dress now. But we went to a midnight showing, and you watch this movie on the screen, and then in front of it, there's people acting out or like mouthing along with the scenes. and you throw props at each other. There's people saying the lines. If it's your first Rocky Horror showing, then they'll do a virgin sacrifice. And so they bring you up into the front and they'll just make you dance. Sometimes they'll make you take your pants off. I mean, it's ridiculous. But I love that environment. Like, I remember it just being really just fabulously gay. It was just a bunch of just femmes and gay people and just kind of, quote, outcast folks. And we all just had an amazing time. And it was my first time up there. So we did the virgin sacrifice and they sprayed like whipped cream in our mouths. And then we watched this ridiculously fabulous movie. And yeah, I haven't gone since. So I think if you and I can ever go to a Rocky Horror show, you would really like it, Nicole.
I would love to. That sounds incredible. I would love whipped cream in my mouth.
It was awesome. It was in Tempe, Arizona at some little local theater. I don't remember. I don't even know if it's open anymore, but I bet you anything Majestic has showings of Rocky Horror Picture Show like that. A lot of them happen around October for like Halloween time. But gosh, there are so many movies with cult followings. Not necessarily, bad movies. Like a lot of these are amazing. But The Evil Dead, Reefer Madness, Night of the Living Dead, 2001 Space Odyssey. Like a lot of people are just really passionate about these movies. I love the Evil Dead films. I guess that kind of comes to mind too as like cult following. They definitely know what they are and they lean into the camp, which I love. There's a time in my life where I didn't like scary movies, which is so funny to me because I love them now. And I remember when I was dating my husband, he wanted to watch the first Evil Dead movie. And I was like, I don't know. It sounds like it's going to be scary. And he had to be like, it's not. It is absolutely not scary. He's like, this movie's ridiculous. It's amazing. You're going to love it. Yeah, and I did. It's absolutely incredible. So if you think about like bad movies, I don't know. Some of the bad movies that I like don't really have a cult following, but I want to hear what bad movies you like, Nicole.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of bad movies that I'd like. But I know one that pops in my head immediately when anyone asks me, like, what's the worst movie I've ever seen? And it's very unfortunate because this person is my favorite actor. It's Adam Sandler, and I think the worst movie that I've ever seen was his movie Jack and Jill.
Oh, he makes terrible movies now. I mean, beyond like Uncut Gems, he had a string of just fucking terrible movies.
Yeah.
So bad.
And Jack and Jill, he plays both Jack and he also plays Jill. And yeah. I was interested because I knew we were going to be talking about this topic. So I went on Rotten Tomatoes. And the thermometer again.
Thermometer.
However you want to say it. Yes. Please guess that rating.
Oh, God. Guess the rating.
Yeah. Try to guess
13.
3. It's 3. The audience scores a 36.
That's hilarious. My brother-in-law loves that movie. It's so funny.
So bad. That in itself just tells you how bad of a movie that it actually is.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh, man. My favorite quote-unquote bad movie is Josie and the Pussycats. I love that movie.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
Oh, my God. I think that movie has a little bit of a cult following now, or at least it's kind of had its renaissance because we're all just clamoring for Y2K right now. Mm-hmm. And the fashion is just so 2000s in that movie. But I unabashedly love that movie so much.
Okay, man. I might have one. It's probably kind of got a cult following too. I don't know, maybe not. But
okay.
Like any of the scary movies, like Scary Movie 1, Scary Movie 2.
Yeah.
Like they're terrible, but I love them. I don't know. I think it's so funny how they just do spoofs off of regular scary movies. But the one that gets me is the Charlie Sheen one and the scene of him in his apartment. He just falls over his balcony. So funny.
Oh,
yeah, terrible movies.
They're all so terrible and so offensive. Like, I don't remember if it's the second one or the third one, but it's the guy with like his little hand and the mashed potatoes. It's just so messed up. But yeah, those movies are hilarious. Mm-hmm. I just thought too, another movie that I saw at a local theater, and they were doing, I don't know if it was a midnight showing, but it was one of those things where they encouraged everyone to come and dress up, speak along with the movie, sing the songs, which are, usually discouraged during movies. But it's different with these cult following movies. If you know the lines, you're encouraged to say them. It was a showing of Spice World, the Spice Girls movie. And it was so much fun. We dressed in 90s outfits. We danced in the aisles. We knew every line to that movie. And yeah, that was a great time. So I could definitely see, again, with the nostalgia stuff, people are just, things that they liked in childhood or the fashion that they liked back then. Gosh, thinking of some other movies with cult followings, Super Troopers, The Labyrinth, Empire Records, Clue, Donnie Darko for sure. I know people who've based their entire personalities in high school around Donnie Darko. Oh my God. MacGruber to some is known as a movie with a cult following, or a movie that's so bad that it's good. And that movie stands out to me because it was my first date with my husband ever. Mm. Yeah, he finally asked me out, and we went to the movies and we saw MacGruber, and it's awful. It's so bad. And then coming out of the movie, we cracked up the entire time like idiots. And we left the theater and we're like, that was terrible. And I loved every second of it. It's so dumb.
I love that. I was going to say, and that, was that your suggestion or his? Or both?
It was his for sure. It was definitely his.
Did you know anything going into it?
No, going into it, it was this sketch on SNL. And so he showed me a couple of the YouTube clips of the sketch. And it's making fun of MacGyver, this 70s television show where this guy can fix anything with a safety pin and some dental floss. Yeah, and we were done. I was like, that was a movie.
Oh man, I didn't know if that'd be the deal breaker. Obviously it wasn't, but okay, why did you take me to this movie? All right.
TMI for my first date. Sorry.
Hey, look where you are now. So it obviously worked out.
That's true. We've been married for a minute, so I think it's okay. Oh man. And Super Troopers. Oh my God. All of those movies Beer Fest and Super Troopers. I think they're called Broken Lizard or Club. I don't know. There's some name for this group of people who make movies. And both of those are in it. And they're so ridiculous. If you haven't watched Beer Fest, I highly suggest it. It's a couple of guys who love beer and want to brew the greatest beer ever known and go to a competition.
Sounds like every man alive.
Honestly. And there was a lot of people I went to college with who based their personalities on Beer Fest too, and chugging beer out of Das Boot. Oh man. So another group of movies kind of similar to that, where they don't really have anything to do with each other, but it's the same cast and crew who make them all, is the Cornetto Trilogy. These are films that are directed by Edgar Wright, and they star Simon Pegg. Yeah, Simon Pegg and shit. What's the guy's name? Nick Frost? Yeah. So they're movies that were directed by Edgar Wright. They star Simon Pegg and Nick Frost in a lot of them. So the three movies there are Shaun of the Dead, which is probably my favorite. Hot Fuzz, which is also hilarious and so disgusting. And then The World's End, which I think is an underrated queen. But Shaun of the Dead, I actually dressed up as for Halloween a couple years ago. I was Shauna of the Dead. And so I had a white button-up shirt with blood splattered on it, and I had a tie around my head. And I had a cricket bat that I carried around myself. So those movies are amazing too. And I think that if we ever got a chance to go see those in theaters, that would be hilarious.
I'm down to see any of these. I would love, again, the experience of the room kind of just makes me want to go and experience more of movies like this, even if they're terrible. Just being surrounded by the people made it.
Those three are amazing. Those, I'm sure, on Rotten Tomatoes have at least 80s and 90s for some of them. Those are good movies. But yeah, they're definitely goofy and over the top and splattered with blood everywhere. But yeah, okay. So now our plan is me and you find a good cult film with a live showing that we can go to.
Yes. I'm down.
Yeah, if it ends up being Rocky Horror, then you have to go up for the virgin sacrifice.
Oh, I will. This time I'll actually go up. The room I didn't go up when they asked to read lines. I was like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not a good actor.
I think that would be the point. If you're a bad actor, it would probably make it good for the room. I went up for the first one when I saw it live, and I played Tommy, and it's so bad. Just like, haha, I love you, darling. Thanks for the pasta. It was so bad, and it was amazing. Yeah,
Gosh.
but that'll be our plan now, Nicole. We're going to find a cult film that we can laugh about. Be our inside joke.
I'm down. Even if anything, we'll suggest it to Majestic. Say, hey, have a screening of this.
Yes, have a Cornetto Trilogy screening. That's going to be my vote. It wouldn't surprise me if they've done it before, especially like Rocky Horror, do it in October because it's a zombie movie. But Hot Fuzz is about cops. You can do that anytime. You can do that right now.
True. So that's another episode of the Pop Culture Junkie podcast. And where can the bad movie lovers out there find you online, Shauna?
Yeah, you can find me, Shauna Trinidad, on Instagram and TikTok at Shauna Trinidad, ShaunaTrinidad.
And you can find me, Nicole, on Instagram and TikTok at Nicole_Eldridge and on Twitter at NAEldridge14. You could find everything that we have said for our socials and even the Pop Culture Junkie socials at www.popculturejunkie.com. And you can download and subscribe to our show on there, so please do that. We would love you for it. And give us reviews. We love to hear anything that you have to say. Please, if you're going to criticize, be kind at least.
Don't criticize, just keep it good.
Yeah, obviously there's nothing to criticize, so we wouldn't expect that.
Facts.
But please give us your feedback. We love to hear it all. Anything you want to hear from us, we would love to get some audience feedback going. And hopefully we have a cult kind of forming. I mean, not like that. That sounded bad, but you know what I mean.
No, I'm totally down to be a cult leader. Absolutely. Are you kidding me? Oh my God. If we get a little cult at Pop Culture Junkies, let's do it.
The junkie cult.
Yes, we promise not to make you guys drink suspicious Kool-Aid at any point.
Oh, man. Well, anyways, yeah, go to our website, find all the links there, and you can also support our show on Patreon to get more and exclusive access weekly on there. So please do that. You definitely don't want to miss the content that's getting produced on there. It's quite funny. You see the behind the scenes and stuff that we don't edit out on our podcast. So thanks for listening, and come back next time for another hit of pop culture.
Pop Culture Junkie is a production of Pop Culture Entertainment Group.
So why don't